Today we're going to talk about some acupressure points on liver and gallbladder meridians to help support the joints, to kind of calm and ground, promote good sleep and good digestion. So a whole variety of different things that kind of represents the role of the liver and gallbladder in general, all the different roles that it can play. So starting off with point on the foot, liver 2, and I can also send you a handout with like images and point descriptions of the locations and stuff. If you'd like, you can just message me and I can send you that. So we'll just talk through it for the class. But on the foot, we'll talk about liver 2. So this point, if you're familiar with liver 3, that's a really, really common point. I think I talked about it in a past class. So this one is a little closer to the toe than liver 3, coming up towards the toe. If you can feel kind of that like knuckle of the big toe on the side towards the pinky side of the toe, you're gonna just feel for that knuckle. So sliding your finger over that knuckle, right over it, you're gonna feel in for that tender spot. And as always with acupressure points, we're feeling for tender spots. So even if it's not exactly where the textbook describes it, if it really feels like that good ache, go for that point. And acupressure points or acupuncture points tend to hug the bone a lot of times, so it's not going to be on the bone, but right alongside is where the chi tends to run. So you're just going to come right over that knuckle of the big toe, and in that corner, feel for the tender spot. So let me show you on my own foot. And again, I can send you an image that makes it a little easier, but sliding your finger down alongside the big toe, feeling for that knuckle. And then as you come back up towards liver 3, you're gonna feel right in that corner for liver 2. And so this point is used for similar reasons as liver 3, but this one has more of a focus on clearing heat. It's the fire point on the liver channel. And so it can be useful to kind of clear heat from the head to, if the energy has kind of risen up in a way that's causing redness, maybe things like that go along with high blood pressure, like headache or dizziness, vertigo, red face, red eyes, and tinnitus or tinnitus, ringing in the ears, particularly high-pitched ring. This point is good for kind of calming and clearing that heat, grounding that chi. Also good for issues with both the liver and the heart, leading to insomnia. So again, a cooling, calming, grounding point. It's one of the translations for this point is walk between. So it can be a good point for cases of stagnation, right? And so the reason for that uprising energy may be a basis in chi stagnation. And so this point kind of helps us to release that and to move forward to physically and figuratively as well. So for cases of like repressed emotion, particularly anger when it comes to the liver, this point kind of helps us take steps forward and release some of that stuckness. So that's liver 2, walk between, and we'll move up to almost the end of the liver meridian to the rib cage area, liver 13. This is actually has a special connection with the spleen. So every organ in Chinese medicine has a point associated with it, an acupuncture point. So associated with the specific organ, not just not like the whole meridian necessarily, but the organ itself. And that point may be on a channel other than that organ. So in the case of the spleen, it's liver 13. And we find this point by, you can just kind of feel the bottom of your rib cage from the side of your torso where the ribs kind of end there. So it's kind of the upper abdominal area or the diaphragm area, right on the side of the torso. So you can kind of come down from the armpit down the torso, feeling the ribs. And then this point it's at the end of the 11th rib. So you don't need to count all the ribs, but that rib doesn't, it has like a free end. It doesn't connect to the sternum. It's just kind of floating out there. So this point is right in that space after that rib ends. So you want to just feel for that kind of space next to the floating rib. And so coming down from the center of the armpit, feeling for the end of the rib cage on the side of the torso will get you in the ballpark. This point also tends to be like a little bit higher than the level of the belly button. So that's another landmark you can look for. And again, feeling for the tender point. So that definitely can help you locate this point. So being connected to the spleen, it has a big role with the digestion and harmonizing the kind of relationship between the wood and the earth elements, which the liver and the spleen belong to respectively. So the relationship between these two elements can get a bit sticky. The wood element has a regulatory role for the earth element, but sometimes it can be a bit overbearing for the earth element, or sometimes the earth element may kind of insult the wood element by being overbearing on it. And what this looks like, well, just a bit more about the wood and the earth element, if you're not familiar, to put it very succinctly, the archetypes that you could associate with each would be like the warrior for the wood element. So this very strong, assertive energy, versus the spleen is like the caretaker, nurturing, maternal or paternal, and so that you can see how maybe those two energies might conflict, but they all exist within us, and all have their place. And so physically, when these two elements are not in harmony, it can create issues with the digestion. There may be like a sense of sluggishness paired with these digestive issues. It might be like fluctuating between diarrhea, constipation, maybe bloating, maybe like feeling, particularly in this like area below the rib cage, of fullness or even like tenderness. And so this point can help to kind of correct that flow of chi in the digestive sphere. And this point is translated as chapter gate is one translation of it. So it's kind of this transition point. We're reaching the end of the liver meridian, preparing to kind of the chi to move into a different meridian. And it's also, the meridian is kind of zigzags. It's at this point, it was coming from the front of the body over to the side, back to the front of the body. So this is can be a good point for when you're going through a transition and you're having trouble, you're just feeling kind of stuck, or maybe you want to be moving forward, but you just keep getting stuck in the same ruts, or just hitting obstacles and getting frustrated by them. So good for harmonizing the wood and the earth energies within us, so that we can continue kind of flowing forward. And even if inevitably there will be obstacles, but doesn't mean we need to be kind of stymied by them. So next, we'll move on to the gallbladder channel, a couple points there. So gallbladder 31 is a point on the side of the thigh. And this point can be, or is traditionally described as being found by just hanging your hand down by the side of your body, and it's where your middle finger lands. So that is kind of the easiest way to find it. And if it doesn't feel particularly tender there, you can just kind of feel along that line to find the point that is more tender. There is another good point a little ways below that on the gallbladder channel with some similar uses. So even if you land there, that's okay. But this point is really just kind of directly on the side of the thigh, like the IT band area. So this is a good point, kind of a local point for pain in that area, for tight IT bands. Definitely for sciatica, it can be a good point, especially, if you need something that you can reach on yourself. And just opening up the gallbladder channel, which runs through the glutes and down, all the way down by the outer ankle, down to the toes. So following oftentimes the pathway of the pain caused by sciatica. This point is translated as wind market. So it's also a good point for certain ailments from wind pathogens. For example, hives, like a rash that comes on quickly, itching, causing itching all over the body, to clear out that pathogen. And this point, let's see, am I missing anything? Yeah, mainly for pain in this area and the gallbladder channel, also for weakness of the leg. It may be a good point to use if someone has had a stroke and is experiencing paralysis, one-sided paralysis. The gallbladder channel in general tends to be good for any one-sided issues. So that's a bit about gallbladder 31, and then moving down the channel to gallbladder 34, yang mound spring. Very common point, powerful point, full of yang qi, as the name suggests. Also good for clearing damp heat, which could present or often presents as inflammation. Certainly if you're experiencing issues with the gallbladder organ itself, like inflammation there, gallstones, or just kind of more mildly just trouble breaking down fats. This point is located, if you're familiar with stomach 36, it's kind of in that same area, but usually going to be a little higher up on the leg. So this is under the knee, and sometimes I like to feel, it can be hard to feel the bone that gallbladder 34 is located alongside, but it starts with this outer ankle. The fibula is the bone, and then it comes up. It's that thinner bone in the lower leg. So feeling up from there to where the head of the fibula is. And then this point is just going to be a little bit, if you feel the head of that bone and then you drop down a little bit and then you come in a little bit, and then feel for the tender point. So it's just in that, like, beside that corner of the head of the fibula. So again, following the bone up from the ankle to the head, you may have to press in pretty deeply to feel for it. And then just dropping down from the head of the bone and then coming in like towards the shin to feel for this point. And this point is a good one for pain as well. For arthritis, that's another kind of inflammatory condition. Definitely for the knees, but also the hips, and even like the rib cage area where the gallbladder channel also travels to. And this point is, as I was saying, a good yang point for someone who is struggling with timidity, lack of assertion, and needing that kind of push of the gallbladder to find that kind of courage